Note, the door cav, referred to as the closer plate in these instructions, is a structural cavity closer designed to provide support for ground floor insulation and screed below a door opening over a cavity wall of 50 to 150 millimeters. It must be positioned beneath the insulation and screed in all applications. This guide is for retrofitting the closer plate post all masonry being completed just prior to DPM insulation and screed stage.
Note: for new installation guide, please see the door cav installation guide.
Removing the internal masonry skin. If an internal masonry skin is present to DPC screed height below the door opening, this needs to be removed to allow the closer plate to be installed. Begin by marking the door opening width on the internal masonry skin. Next, either stitch drill or angle grind the marked masonry down to the top level of the block and beam or subfloor, ensuring a neat removal. This process will help prevent damage or disturbance to the masonry adjacent to the door openings. After drilling or grinding, remove all the blocks and excess mortar below the door opening on the internal skin. Next, a slot to house the closer plate needs to be created. Use a level and straight edge or a chalk line to mark across the cavity side of the external masonry skin, ensuring it is level with the top of the block and beam subfloor. Using a small handheld grinder with a 125 mm diameter disc that has a minimum disc width of 4 mm, cut a level slot along the marked line in the external masonry to a depth of at least 35 mm, ideally 50 mm if achievable. This slot will house the nibbed projection side of the closer plate. Remove the dust from the slot created using either a vacuum or a blowing device to allow the closer plate to sit at the correct depth. Make sure the installation area is clean so the closer plate can sit flat on top of the internal block and beam subfloor. Positioning the closer plate. The closer plate should be equal in width to the door opening. Measure, mark, and place the closer plate directly under the door opening location. If required, adjust the width of the closer plate using a disc cutter, grinder, or a fine-toothed handsaw. For large width door openings, multiple closer plates can be abutted next to one another. Ensure proper location. Make sure the location nib underneath the closer plate is abutted to the external skin of the masonry wall on the cavity side.
The projection nib on the closer plate should face downwards. Ensure the closer plate is flush with the external masonry wall. The nib is 50 mm from the edge of the plate and should be no more than 15 mm away from the external masonry skin when installed. This distance indicates the plate has been inserted deeply enough into the slot. The nib can be positioned tight against the masonry if a 50mm slot has been achieved.
Secure the closer plate. To prevent the closer plate from moving during masonry installation, we recommend two methods. Method 1 and the preferred method. Clean the area of dust and debris and apply a strong, flexible grab adhesive to the underside of the closer plate. Examples such as CT1, Everbuild Stick-All, Evo Stick, Sodal Fix-All, OB1 Multi-Surface or similar products. Ensure good contact between the closer plate and the masonry to establish adhesion. Follow adhesive manufacturer's instructions for curing times and handling.
Method 2. Clean the area of dust and debris and drill 2 pilot holes in the corners of the closer plate on the internal skin. Make sure the holes are 1 to 2 mm wider in diameter than the screw thread. Ensure pilot holes are a minimum of 30 mm in from all edges of the closer plate and are not on the edge of the masonry to reduce potential blowout. Use masonry raw plugs and screws to fix the plate to the masonry below. Install the damp-proof membrane over the subfloor, closer plate, and masonry. Lap the internal DPC course over and under the damp-proof membrane for complete coverage. Install the rigid floor insulation, including perimeter upstands, over the damp-proof membrane. We recommend the Vulcon Insu clip for efficient fixing. The perimeter upstand below the door opening should abut to the outside masonry skin to stop cold bridging below the door where no cavity is present. Before installing the screed, carry out any necessary works such as underfloor heating pipes, cables, screed separation sheeting, etc. Install screed such as traditional sand and cement or liquid alternatives. Finally, install all items such as cavity closers, doors, wall finishes, and floor finishes. Note: for further technical inquiries, please contact us by the details below.